My mother died at 9:47 a.m. By 3:15 p.m., my wife told me I was replaceable. By midnight, I knew why. The call came while I was teaching second period, American history. We were covering the Constitutional Convention when my phone buzzed. Mom's facility. I knew before I answered. Mr. Anderson, I'm so sorry. Margaret passed peacefully at 9:47 this morning. She wasn't in any pain. I thanked her, told my students there was an emergency, drove to the hospice center in silence. The radio was on, but I couldn't hear it. Couldn't hear anything except that timestamp, 9:47 a.m. While I was explaining checks and balances, my mother stopped breathing. Jennifer met me there. She was already in the parking lot when I arrived. That should have meant something. Should have told me she'd been waiting for this. But grief makes you stupid, grateful even. I thought she was being supportive. I'm so sorry, Tommy, she said. Tommy. She hasn't called me that in years. She always said Thomas sounded more professional, more serious. But standing in that hospice parking lot, she used my mother's name for me, and I let it comfort me. The facility had already prepared everything. Mom had been clear about her wishes. No service, no fuss, cremation. She'd planned it all 2 months ago when the doctor said weeks, not months. Even dying, she was organized. I signed papers I didn't read. Jennifer stood beside me, her hand on my back. I thought she was being a wife. The lawyer called at 2:30 p.m., Mom's estate attorney. Could I come by the office? Today, if possible. There were time-sensitive matters to discuss. Jennifer offered to drive. Said I shouldn't be alone. I agreed. Walter Brennan's office smelled like old books and lemon furniture polish. He'd been Mom's lawyer for 30 years. Handled her will after Dad died. Updated it every few years. He shook my hand, offered condolences, gestured to the chairs across from his desk. Margaret was very specific about her instructions. He said she wanted this handled immediately. He opened a folder. Read the relevant sections. The house in Hartford. Her savings. The life insurance policy she'd maintained since Dad passed. Some investments I didn't know about. Teacher's pension survivor benefits. All told, Thomas, you're inheriting approximately $850,000. The number landed like a physical thing, $850,000. I couldn't process it, couldn't make sense of how my mother, a retired librarian who clipped coupons, had accumulated that much. Walter explained, decades of careful saving, the house fully paid off. Dad's VA benefits, compound interest doing what it does when you leave it alone for 40 years. I looked at Jennifer. She was smiling. I'd never seen that smile before. Not quite happiness, not quite satisfaction. Something else. Something I didn't have a name for yet. That's wonderful, Jennifer said. Margaret was so smart with money. Walter went through more details, timelines, tax implications. Probate would be straightforward. Everything was in order. Mom had made sure of it. We left his office at 3:10 p.m. In the car, Jennifer checked her phone, typed something, put it away. Then she turned to me. We should talk about this, she said. About what? The money. What we'll do with it. How we'll invest it. We. She said we, like it was already hers too. Like Mom's 40 years of saving belonged to both of us by default. I just want to get through today, I said. Of course, I'm just saying, this changes things. This is real money, Thomas. Thomas, not Tommy anymore. We'd been in Walter's office for 25 minutes and I was already Thomas again. She dropped me off at home, said she had to go back to work. A client needed documents filed before 5 p.m. She'd pick up dinner on the way home. I should rest, process. She kissed my cheek. It felt like obligation. I went inside, sat in the living room, stared at my phone. My mother's last text was still there, sent at 9:48 a.m. 1 minute after she died, a scheduled send. She must have set it up the night before. Read my journals, trust your brother. You were never replaceable to me. Mom. I read it 7 times, tried to understand what she meant. Journals, she'd always kept them, but I'd never read them. Trust your brother. Daniel and I hadn't spoken in 5 years. Replaceable. Why would she use that word? At 3:15 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Mr. Anderson, this is Dr. Patel's office calling about your appointment next week. We need to confirm. It wasn't Dr. Patel's office. The voice was male, deep. Familiar somehow, though I couldn't place it. And then I heard Jennifer's voice in the background, distant, like she was in another room, but close enough to overhear. Robert, hang up. I told you not to call this number. The line went dead. Robert. I stood there holding my phone. Robert. Jennifer had mentioned a Robert once, maybe twice. A colleague at the firm, a senior paralegal who sometimes consulted on cases. She said he was helpful, professional, nothing more. I walked to the bedroom. Jennifer's laptop was open on the dresser. She'd been working from home that morning before getting the call about Mom. She usually logged out. She hadn't this time. Her email was still open. I shouldn't have looked. I knew I shouldn't have looked. But that name, Robert, was sitting in my head like a splinter. And my mother's text. You were never replaceable to me. Why would she say that? Why would she think I needed to hear that? I scrolled through Jennifer's inbox, work emails, client updates, nothing suspicious. Then I saw the drafts folder. 47 saved drafts. I clicked. The first one was dated March 12th, 2023. Subject line, Anderson prenup V7 final PDF. March 12th, 2023. My mother was diagnosed with cancer on April 3rd, 2023. 3 weeks later. I downloaded the attachment, opened it. 47 pages of legal language, dissolution of marriage, asset division, inheritance clauses. Section 7.3 was highlighted in yellow. In the event of inheritance exceeding $500,000, division shall be calculated as follows. My hands started shaking. This was a prenup. We'd never discussed a prenup. We'd been married 12 years. Why would Jennifer draft a prenup now? And why would she draft it 3 weeks before my mother's diagnosis? Unless she knew. Unless she'd been planning this. Unless... The front door opened. Jennifer's voice called out, Thomas, I'm home. I brought Chinese. I closed the laptop, walked to the living room. She was setting takeout containers on the kitchen counter, still in her work clothes, heels, black dress, the same outfit she'd worn to Walter's office. You okay? She asked. You look pale. I got a weird call, I said. Someone asked for me, then I heard your voice in the background. You said something about not calling this number. She didn't freeze, didn't panic. She just smiled. That same smile from Walter's office. Oh, that. Yeah, Robert called me by mistake. He meant to call my work cell. I was with a client, told him to hang up and call the right number. Robert, I said, Mitchell. He's an attorney we consult with. I've mentioned him. Have you? Yes, Thomas, several times. She said my name like it was an answer, like saying it with enough confidence would make me stop asking questions. Why would he call you on a day like today? I asked, the day my mother died. He didn't know. It was work-related. Thomas, what is this? Why are you interrogating me? I'm not. You are. Your mother just died and you're standing here accusing me of... What exactly? I didn't know. Couldn't articulate it. Couldn't explain why my stomach felt like it was full of glass. Nothing, I said. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It has, she said. Her voice softened, practiced. Let's eat. We can talk about everything else tomorrow. We ate in silence, lo mein and orange chicken from the place near her office. I couldn't taste any of it. At 7:30 p.m., Jennifer said she was exhausted, going to bed early. I told her I'd be up soon. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close. Then I went to my mother's house. The key was where it always was, under the planter by the front door. Mom had lived in this house for 43 years, bought it with Dad in 1982, raised me here, Stayed after he died. Stayed through the cancer. Stayed until 8 months ago when hospice said it was time. The house still smelled like her. Lavender, hand lotion, and old books. She'd been a librarian for 35 years. Surrounded herself with books, even in retirement. Her reading chair sat by the window, a bookmark still in the novel on the side table. She'd never finish it now. I sat on her bed. The hospice staff had stripped the sheets, but the room was otherwise untouched. Her dresser, her closet, her nightstand. Mom's text, "Read my journals." I opened the drawer, found a leather-bound book, dark brown, worn at the edges. Her maiden name embossed on the cover in gold, M. Harrison, Margaret Ann Harrison. She'd been Margaret Anderson for 43 years, but this journal bore her original name. I opened it. The first entry was dated November 14th, 2014, a month after Jennifer and I got married. The handwriting was steady, looping. The Y in Tommy had a little hardtail. That was Mom. She'd done that since I was a kid. Every birthday card, every note in my lunchbox. The Y always had a heart. Entry number 1, November 14th, 2014. Tommy brought his new wife by for dinner. Jennifer. She's polished, pretty, smart, but she watches him like an accountant, not a wife. She asked about the house, how much equity I have, whether I'd considered downsizing. She said it was concern. I heard calculation. I hope I'm wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong. I closed the journal, opened it again, read it 3 more times. November 2014, 11 years ago. My mother had seen something wrong on day 1, and I'd never known, never noticed, never listened. I kept reading. Entry Diary 47, December 2016. Tommy says they're not having kids yet. Jennifer's career is taking off, I understand. But when I asked if yet would ever become now, she said, "We'll see what makes financial sense." Financial sense, not when we're ready or when the time is right. Financial sense, like children are an investment portfolio. Entry G89, March 2021. Jennifer asked about my will today. First time in 7 years, wanted to know if I'd updated it, if Tommy was still the sole beneficiary, if I'd considered dividing things more equitably. I told her Tommy's my son. Everything goes to him. She smiled and said, of course. I just wanted to make sure you'd thought it through." I've thought it through, Jennifer, every day for 7 years. Entry 9-year-203, April 5th, 2023. Diagnosis confirmed. Stage 4. 6 months, maybe a year if I'm lucky. I told Tommy yesterday. He cried. I held him. Jennifer was there. She didn't cry. She didn't hold me. She checked her phone 3 times while Tommy was sobbing in my arms. I give it 6 months before she makes her move. Maybe less. The journal shook in my hands. My mother had documented everything, every red flag, every cold comment, every moment of calculation disguised as care. For 11 years, she'd been watching, writing, warning herself, warning me, and I'd never known. I flipped to the end of the journal. The last entry was dated October 28th, 2024, 2 weeks before she died. If Tommy's reading this, it means I was right. I hope I wasn't. But if I was, if Jennifer showed her true face after I was gone, then he needs to know I saw it coming. Every step. I documented everything. It's in the safe deposit box at Hartford Federal. Box 247. Tommy has the key. He just doesn't know it yet. It's the key I gave him on his birthday last year, the one with the blue tag. I told him it was a spare house key. I lied. I'm sorry. But he needed insurance, and I was running out of time. Tommy, she only ever calls you Thomas now. You are the best thing I ever made. Don't let her make you forget that. Love isn't a contract. It's a choice. And I choose you. Always. Mom. I couldn't breathe. My mother had known and planned and prepared. Even dying, she'd been protecting me, the blue-tagged key. She'd given it to me last November, my birthday, said it was a spare for her house, asked me to keep it safe. I'd put it on my key ring and forgotten about it. I pulled out my keys, found the blue tag. Such a small thing, such a careful plan. Box 247. If you've ever heard something you weren't meant to hear, something that changed everything, just leave "I listened" in the comments. You're not alone. I put the journal in my jacket, locked the house, drove home in the dark. It was 11:47 p.m. when I pulled into the driveway. Jennifer's car was there, bedroom light was off. She was asleep. I sat in my car, looked at the house we'd shared for 12 years, the mortgage we'd paid together, the life I thought we'd built. Every happy memory had a warning. Every anniversary had a journal entry. My mother had been documenting the con for 12 years. I unlocked my phone, texted my brother Daniel for the first time in 5 years. "Mom died this morning. I need to talk to you. It's urgent." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "I'm so sorry. I'll drive up tomorrow. Whatever you need." I looked at our house again, at the bedroom window where my wife was sleeping. She'd called me replaceable. She had no idea I'd spend the rest of the night learning exactly why. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. I spread Mom's journal across the kitchen table along with every document I could find. Bank statements, tax returns, insurance policies, our wedding album. I started building a timeline. Left column, dates. Middle column, events from our marriage. Right column, Mom's journal entries. I used red string to connect them, pins through a foam board I found in the garage. It looked insane. It felt necessary. November 2014, we get married. Mom writes, she watches him like an accountant. December 2016, Jennifer says, no kids yet. Mom writes, financial sense, like children are an investment portfolio. March 2021, Jennifer asks about the will. Mom writes, I've thought it through every day for 7 years. April 2023, Mom diagnosed with cancer. Jennifer drafts a prenup 3 weeks earlier. The pattern was there, clear as DNA evidence. Every major event in our marriage had a corresponding warning in Mom's journal, and every warning showed calculation, planning, patience. I wrote at the bottom of the board in black Sharpie, question, was any of it real? By 4 a.m., the kitchen looked like a detective's war room. Photos, sticky notes, highlighted passages. I'd gone through 10 years of our life and found the seams, the places where Jennifer's mask had slipped, where Mom had caught it, where I'd been too blind to see. Daniel texted at 6:15 a.m. He was 2 hours out. I made coffee, stared at the timeline, tried to find a single memory that wasn't tainted now. Couldn't. Jennifer came downstairs at 7:30, saw the kitchen, stopped. Thomas, what is this? Research, I said. Research into what? Us. She looked at the timeline, at Mom's journal lying open, at the wedding photos pinned next to warnings about calculation and financial motive. You went through Margaret's things, she said. She left them for me. Thomas, you're grieving. This isn't healthy. You need to sleep. I need to understand. Understand what? That your mother never liked me? I knew that. She made it pretty clear. She loved me. I said, that's what you don't get. She loved me enough to watch, to document, to warn me. Warn you about what? I looked at her, really looked. 12 years of marriage, and I'd never seen this version of her face. The one without pretense, the one that didn't care anymore. When were you going to tell me about Robert Mitchell? I asked. Something flickered behind her eyes. Not panic, recalibration. I already explained that. You said he was a colleague, a consultant. He is. Then why are there 47 saved drafts of our divorce prenup in your email? Why is his name on half of them as co-author? She didn't answer, just stood there measuring her options, deciding whether to lie or pivot or attack. She chose attack. You went through my private email. You drafted a prenup 3 weeks before my mother was diagnosed. That's not... March 12th, 2023. I have the metadata, Jennifer. I have the file creation date. I have everything. Her face changed. The mask fell away completely. What replaced it was colder than I'd imagined possible. "Fine," she said. "You want the truth? Here it is. Yes, I've been planning to leave. Yes, I consulted with Robert. Yes, I knew your mother was sick before the diagnosis came back. She told me she was having tests done. I'm not an idiot, Thomas. I know how cancer works. Stage 4 doesn't appear overnight. So you started planning our divorce." "I started protecting my interests. We've been together 12 years. I'm entitled to half." "Entitled?" "Yes, entitled. That's how marriage works. Community property. I've supported you. I built a career while you teach high school for $48,000 a year. Don't act like I'm the villain here." "You called me replaceable." She laughed. Actually laughed. "You are replaceable, Thomas. Everyone is. That's not cruelty. That's reality. Your mother filled your head with this fantasy that you're special. You're not. You're a 44-year-old history teacher with a dead-end job and no ambition. I stayed because I thought eventually you'd want more. You never did. And now your mother's gone and there's $850,000 and I've waited long enough." The words landed like bullets, each one precise, each one designed to wound. "Get out," I said. "Excuse me? Get out of this house, now." "This is my house, too." "Actually, it's not. It's in my name. My credit bought it. My teacher's salary, dead end as it is, paid the down payment. You moved in. You never bought in, so get out." She stared at me, recalculating again. "You're serious?" "Completely." "Fine, I'll get my things. Just the essentials. I'll have the rest packed and sent." She went upstairs. I heard drawers opening, closet doors slamming. 15 minutes later, she came down with an overnight bag. The same bag she'd packed 3 days before Mom died. I hadn't noticed then. I noticed now. At the door, she turned back. "You're going to regret this." "I already do," I said. "I regret 12 years. She left. The door clicked shut. I stood in the kitchen surrounded by evidence of a marriage that had never been real. My phone buzzed. "Daniel. Just pulled up. That her leaving?" "Yeah." "Good timing." I hadn't seen my brother in 5 years, not since Thanksgiving 2019. We'd fought about something stupid. At least I thought it was stupid. Jennifer said Daniel was being disrespectful. Said he'd made comments about her, about us. Said he was jealous of what we had. I believed her, chose her, told Daniel we needed space. He never called after that. I thought it meant I was right. Now, watching him get out of his truck, I realized what it actually meant. He'd been pushed out, strategically, carefully, the same way Mom had been isolated in her final months. Daniel looked older, grayer, but his face, it was Dad's face, same jaw, same eyes. I'd forgotten how much he looked like Dad. "Tommy," he said, not Thomas, Tommy. I broke, right there on the driveway. 5 years of silence and Mom's death and Jennifer's betrayal and the timeline in my kitchen, it all came up at once. Daniel caught me, held me, let me sob into his shoulder like I hadn't done since we were kids. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'm so sorry." "Me too. I should have tried harder. She told me you didn't want to be around." He pulled back, looked at me. "What?" "Jennifer, she said you told her I'd chosen her over family, that you thought I was making a mistake, but you weren't going to stick around to watch." "Tommy, I never said that. I called you 17 times that first year. You never answered, never called back. I thought you cut me out." "She said you didn't want to come around anymore." "I wanted to come to Mom's birthday, her treatment appointments, everything. Jennifer answered your phone once, said you were busy, said you'd call back. You never did. After a while, I stopped trying." We stood there looking at each other. Same lie, different brother, 5 years. She'd stolen 5 years from us, and I'd let her. "Have you ever been turned against a family member? How did you find your way back?" "Come inside," I said. "I need to show you something." Daniel stood in front of the timeline for 10 minutes without speaking, read every entry, studied every connection, traced the red string with his finger. "Jesus, Tommy, she was planning this for years." Since before Mom got sick. And Mom knew? She documented everything. 11 years of warnings. I never read them, never even looked. How could you? You were living it. You loved her. I was an idiot. You were a husband. That's different. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through old messages, held it out to me. Look at these. Emails from Jennifer sent to Daniel's address dating back to 2020. Subject, concern about Thomas. Daniel, I'm worried about your brother. He's been pulling away from family. I think he's depressed. He mentioned he doesn't feel comfortable with you around right now. I'm trying to support him, but I thought you should know. Maybe give him some space. Jennifer. Subject, Thanksgiving. Daniel, Thomas asked me to tell you we're doing Thanksgiving, just the two of us this year. He's been stressed with work and needs a quiet holiday. Hope you understand. Jennifer. Subject, Margaret's condition. Daniel, I know you want to be involved with your mother's care, but Thomas feels it's better if we handle it. He doesn't think Margaret needs a lot of visitors right now. She gets tired easily. He'll let you know if anything changes. Jennifer. 53 emails, 5 years of messages designed to keep us apart, all sent without my knowledge, all perfectly reasonable on the surface, all completely fabricated. You said I wasn't welcome, I said. You said you didn't want me to come, Daniel replied. We looked at each other, the enormity of it settling in. She hadn't just betrayed me. She'd engineered my isolation, cut me off from the only family I had left, made sure no one would be there to question, to notice, to interfere. I'm so angry, Daniel said. I know. Mom tried to tell me last time I saw her. Before hospice, she said, Danny, something's wrong. I can't prove it yet, but something's very wrong. I thought she meant her health. She meant Jennifer. She was protecting you. Even when she was dying, she was still protecting you. I showed him the rest. The burner phone I'd found in Jennifer's car that morning. Cheap flip phone hidden in the glove compartment under insurance papers. The kind you buy at convenience stores with prepaid minutes. The text history went back 24 months, all between Jennifer and a number saved as R. First message dated April 1st, 2023, 10:47 p.m. R. Confirmed, stage 4, pancreatic. She's got 6 months, maybe a year. J. So phase 1 starts now. R. We've planned for this. Stay the course. Be supportive. Wait for probate. J. How long after? R. 6 months post-inheritance, standard cooling off period. Then we file. By then you'll have established financial contributions to her end-of-life care. Judge will see you as devoted spouse. J. And the prenup clause? R. Airtight. Inheritance over $500K triggers equitable division. You'll walk with $425K minimum. J. That's it? After 12 years? R. Plus half the house equity, half his pension and spousal support for 3 years. You're looking at $600K total. Maybe more if we push emotional distress. J. When do I tell him? R. After probate clears. After the money's liquid, not before. He can't hide assets if he doesn't know you're leaving. J. God, I'm tired of pretending. R. 2 more months, babe. We've waited 2 years. We can wait 2 more months. Daniel read over my shoulder. His hand tightened on my shoulder. Phase 1, he said. They had phases. Keep reading. The messages continued, detailed, clinical, a blueprint for financial extraction disguised as marriage dissolution. They'd thought of everything. How to maximize Jennifer's claim, how to minimize mine, how to use Mom's illness as leverage, how to time everything for optimal legal positioning. And then, buried in the messages from October, I found the voice recording. Attached to a text from Jennifer to Robert. Proof we're not imagining this windfall. Listen to her labored breathing in the background. Won't be long now. I plugged in headphones, pressed play. Jennifer's voice clear and close to the phone. When the old lady finally kicks, we're looking at high 6 figures. Maybe even hit 1 million with the house. Robert Mitchell's voice amused. You've been patient, babe. 2 years is a long con. Jennifer, laughing. He's so busy playing good son, he has no idea. Replaceable little man. Both of them laughing. Then Jennifer again. Stage 4 pancreatic doesn't mess around. Oncologist said 4 to 6 months. That was 5 months ago. Any day now. Background noise. A restaurant. Clinking glasses. Someone saying congratulations. Mitchell. To phase 2 and to never having to pretend to like Margaret's meatloaf again. More laughter. The recording cut off. Timestamp April 3rd, 2024, 11:23 p.m. The same day, Mom received her diagnosis. 6 hours after we'd sat in the oncologist's office and heard the words terminal and palliative care only. 6 hours after I'd held Mom while she cried. 6 hours after Jennifer had rubbed my back and said, we'll get through this together. She'd gone straight from that appointment to a celebration dinner with her boyfriend. I listened to the recording 12 times. Each time I heard something new. Each time it hurt more. Tommy, Daniel said, we have to stop them. I know. Not just the divorce. This is conspiracy, fraud, maybe even elder abuse if we can prove they influenced her medical decisions. How? I don't know, but Mom did. She said everything's in a safe deposit box. I pulled out my keys, the blue tag key. Box 247, Hartford Federal. Let's go. The bank opened at 9 a.m. We were waiting in the parking lot at 8:45. Daniel bought us coffee from the drive-thru next door. We didn't talk, didn't need to. 5 years of silence erased by a shared mission, a shared rage, a shared need to finish what Mom started. At 9:02, we walked into Hartford Federal, asked for access to box 247. The clerk checked her system. Margaret Anderson's box. Are you the authorized party? I'm her son, Thomas Anderson. This is my brother Daniel. We're her heirs. I'll need to see ID and the death certificate. I'd brought both. Habit from years of teaching, always bring more documentation than required. The clerk verified everything. Led us to the vault. Box 247 was medium-sized. She unlocked it with her key and my blue tag key, pulled out a metal container, set it on the table in the privacy room. Take your time, she said, and left. Daniel and I looked at the box. Mom's handwriting on a label on top. For Tommy, when you know. I opened it. Inside a USB drive. A folder marked Financial Evidence. Another folder marked Timeline and Witnesses. A sealed envelope. And one more journal, newer than the one I'd found at her house. I opened the financial folder first, bank records showing Jennifer's name added to Mom's accounts in 2022, small withdrawals over 6 months, $200 here, $500 there, nothing large enough to trigger alerts, total $8,400. Embezzlement from a dying woman who trusted her daughter-in-law. The timeline folder had dates and observations. Mom had been conducting her own investigation. Photos of Jennifer meeting Mitchell at restaurants, printed emails, phone records showing hundreds of calls between them starting in 2022, long before Mom's diagnosis. She was a librarian, Daniel said. She knew how to research. The USB drive had video files, security camera footage from her house. Jennifer going through Mom's desk when she thought no one was home, opening drawers, photographing documents, looking for financial information, and then I opened the sealed envelope, one sheet of cream stationery. Mom's monogram, May H. Margaret Ann Harrison, her maiden name, like the journal. The wax seal cracked under my thumb, red wax, her special seal stamp, a small book. The letter was dated October 28th, 2024, 2 weeks before she died. Tommy, if you're reading this, it means I was right. I hoped I wasn't. Hoped Jennifer would prove me wrong. Hoped I was just a paranoid old woman seeing threats where there was only love. But I wasn't wrong. And you're holding proof. I've documented everything. 2 years of watching her circle like a vulture. 2 years of seeing her calculate, plan, conspire with that lawyer boyfriend of hers. Yes, I knew about Robert Mitchell. I hired a private investigator 6 months after my diagnosis. Cost me $4,000, worth every penny. The USB has everything: video, audio, financial records, witness statements from 3 of her co-workers who knew about the affair. I even got Mitchell's ex-wife to talk. Turns out this isn't his first time running this scheme. He's done it before with other clients, other women, other inheritances. Jennifer isn't just unfaithful, sweetheart. She's a professional, and he's her coach. I wanted to tell you sooner. Wanted to show you all of this while I was alive, but I couldn't. You loved her. You would have defended her, questioned my evidence, chosen her over my warnings. I know you, Tommy. You're loyal to a fault. It's one of your best qualities, and she weaponized it. So I waited, I documented, I built a case that even you couldn't deny. I'm sorry I didn't protect you better. Sorry I let you marry her. Sorry I didn't speak up 11 years ago when I first saw the truth. But I'm not sorry for this, for arming you, for making sure you'd have everything you need to fight back. You are the best thing I ever made. Don't let her make you forget that. Love isn't a contract, it's a choice. And I choose you, always. Go get her, sweetheart. Mom. I couldn't read the last paragraph out loud. Daniel read it over my shoulder. We both sat there in that bank vault privacy room and cried. Mom had known everything, and she'd spent her final months preparing for a battle she wouldn't live to see. She saved you twice, Daniel said, once by raising you, once by documenting everything. I miss her, I said. God, I miss her so much. Me too. We packed everything back into the box, made copies of the key documents, photographed the letter. The bank clerk helped us get everything onto a second USB drive for Daniel. Evidence redundancy. Mom would have approved. In the parking lot, Daniel said, "What now?" Now I hire the best divorce attorney in Connecticut, and I bury her. And Mitchell? Him too. Bar association, ethics complaints, criminal fraud charges if we can make them stick. Mom built you a weapon. Yeah, she did. Daniel pulled me into a hug. We do this together. No more 5 years apart. No more letting anyone come between us. Together, I said. We drove back to my house. The timeline was still on the kitchen table. I added Mom's evidence to it, the photos from the USB, the financial records, the new journal entries. At the bottom of the board, I crossed out, question, was any of it real? Wrote in red marker, no, none of it, and I have proof. Daniel looked at the wall of evidence. 12 years of marriage reduced to fraud. 2 years of conspiracy documented in irrefutable detail. When you take this to a lawyer, they're going to tell you that you've already won. I don't want to win, I said. I want justice. What's the difference? Winning means I keep my money. Justice means she loses everything. My phone buzzed. Email notification. Jennifer's attorney requesting mediation. Quick settlement. No need for litigation. They were offering me 70% of the inheritance if I agreed to her keeping the house and no spousal support. I deleted it, opened a new message to Walter Brennan, Mom's estate attorney. Walter, I need a referral. The best divorce attorney you know. Someone who doesn't settle, someone who destroys. I have evidence, a lot of it. Thomas. His reply came in 3 minutes. Call Sarah Chen at Brennan and Associates. Tell her I sent you. She's my daughter, and she's a killer. Walt, I called, made an appointment for tomorrow morning. Told Sarah I had approximately 200 pieces of documented evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud. She said, bring everything. And Thomas, I'm sorry about your mother. Walter told me what she did for you. She sounds extraordinary. She was, I said. She really was. I hung up, looked at Daniel. Tomorrow we start phase 2, ours, not theirs. He raised his coffee cup. To Margaret, the smartest woman we ever knew. Smarter, I said. Sarah Chen reviewed my evidence for 3 hours. Didn't speak. Just read, watched, listened, made notes on a yellow legal pad in handwriting so small I couldn't decipher it. Finally, she looked up. Mr. Anderson, in 20 years of practicing family law, I've never seen a case this well documented. Your mother was thorough. She was a librarian. Research was her specialty. She built you a nuclear weapon. The question is, how do you want to use it? I want her to get nothing. I want him disbarred. I want everyone to know what they did. Sarah nodded. Then we go scorched earth. Fair warning, it won't feel good. Justice rarely does. I don't need it to feel good. I need it to be complete. Then let's begin. We filed on November 18th, 2024. 72 pages. Petition for dissolution of marriage with allegations of fraud, conspiracy, and breach of fiduciary duty. Exhibits A through M. Mom's journal, the prenup draft, bank records, text messages, the voice recording, video footage, witness statements, everything. Sarah arranged for service at Jennifer's office, maximum visibility. 2 p.m. on a Wednesday when the paralegal pool would be at peak capacity. I wasn't there, but Daniel was. He watched from his truck across the street, texted me updates. Process server just walked in. Jennifer's at her desk, front window, second floor. He's talking to the receptionist. Going upstairs. He's at her desk. She's opening it. Then 3 minutes of silence, finally. She just ran to the bathroom. Everyone's staring. They're all reading over each other's shoulders. Tommy, it's a bloodbath. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just tired. Justice doesn't always feel like winning, does it? Jennifer's attorney, not Mitchell, someone new, called that afternoon, requested emergency mediation. Sarah declined, requested continuance. Sarah declined. Requested sealed proceedings. Sarah declined. My client wants transparency, Sarah told him. Everything on the record, everything public. If your client has a problem with that, she should have thought about consequences before committing fraud. The Bar Association received its complaint about Robert Mitchell the same day. Anonymous tip, though Sarah knew how to make things happen through back channels. Within 48 hours, Mitchell received notification of formal investigation. His law firm suspended him pending outcome. Standard protocol. Can't have an attorney under ethics investigation handling client matters. But the suspension meant something else. He couldn't represent Jennifer, couldn't coach her, couldn't strategize. The lawyer boyfriend who'd planned this entire con had been neutralized. Jennifer was on her own. Mitchell's bar hearing was scheduled for December 3rd. Sarah got me approved as a witness. I'd never been inside a bar association hearing before. It wasn't like a courtroom, more like a conference room, long table, panel of 5 attorneys, court reporter, Mitchell and his attorney at one end, me at the other. The chairwoman was a black woman in her 60s named Patricia Drummond. She had the kind of face that had seen everything and believed nothing. Mr. Anderson, she said, you've submitted extensive evidence regarding Mr. Mitchell's conduct. Before we review it, I need to understand the timeline. When did you become aware of your wife's relationship with Mr. Mitchell? The day my mother died, November 14th, I overheard a phone call. And the evidence you're presenting today was collected when? My mother collected most of it over 2 years. She hired a private investigator, documented everything, left it for me in a safe deposit box. Drummond looked at Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, did you know you were under surveillance? I had no idea, he said. His voice was smooth, lawyer trained. And with all due respect, I question the admissibility of evidence obtained by a private investigator hired by someone who wasn't party to any of these relationships. Your concern is noted. However, we're not a court of law. We're an ethics panel. Our standards for admissibility are different. Mr. Anderson, play the recording. I connected my phone to the speaker system. Pressed play. Jennifer's voice filled the room. When the old lady finally kicks, we're looking at high 6 figures. maybe even hit 1 million with the house. Mitchell's voice, "You've been patient, babe. 2 years is a long con." Jennifer, "He's so busy playing good son he has no idea. Replaceable little man." Mitchell, "To phase 2, and to never having to pretend to like Margaret's meatloaf again." Laughter. Both of them, celebrating my mother's impending death over dinner. The recording played for 2 minutes and 14 seconds. I watched the panel. 3 of them wouldn't meet Mitchell's eyes. One was writing furiously. Drummond's expression never changed. She stopped the recording at 2:14. "We've heard enough," she said. "Mr. Mitchell, this recording was made when?" "I don't know. I'd need to verify. April 3rd, 2024, I said. "The day my mother received her terminal diagnosis, 6 hours after I sat with her in the oncologist's office." Drummond looked at Mitchell. "You celebrated a client's mother's cancer diagnosis." "Jennifer wasn't technically my client." "No, she was your lover, with whom you conspired to defraud her husband of marital assets by timing a divorce to coincide with his inheritance, an inheritance triggered by his mother's death, a death you mocked." Mitchell's face went gray. "We also have evidence," Sarah said, standing, "that Mr. Mitchell has engaged in similar schemes with at least 3 other clients over the past 7 years. We've located 2 other women, former clients, who had remarkably similar patterns: paralegal wives, attorney boyfriend, inheritance event, expedited divorce." Drummond held up a hand. "You're saying this is a pattern? We're saying it's a business model." The panel went into closed session. Mitchell and I were asked to wait outside. He sat at one end of the hallway. I sat at the other. 40 minutes passed. Neither of us spoke. The panel called us back in. Drummond read from prepared notes. "Mr. Mitchell, this panel finds clear and convincing evidence of ethical violations, including conflict of interest, conspiracy to commit fraud, misuse of legal knowledge for personal gain, and conduct unbecoming of an attorney. Effective immediately, you are suspended from the practice of law pending full disbarment proceedings. You have 30 days to notify all clients and surrender your license." Mitchell's attorney started to object. Drummond cut him off. "This is not negotiable. And Mr. Mitchell, the evidence Mr. Anderson provided has been forwarded to the state attorney's office. You may want to retain criminal counsel." We were dismissed. In the hallway, Sarah said, "That's one down." "How long until disbarment is final?" 6 months, maybe less. They're fast-tracking it." "Good." Our divorce trial was scheduled for December 18th, 2 weeks away. In the meantime, everything unraveled. Mitchell's law firm terminated him officially. Ethics suspension became termination for cause. No severance, no references. His name removed from the website within 24 hours. 3 of his former clients filed complaints. The pattern Sarah had identified was real. Mitchell had been running this scheme since 2017. Jennifer wasn't the first, just the first to get caught. Jennifer's paralegal license came under review. The state bar found she'd used her position to access confidential client information for personal gain. Automatic suspension pending full hearing. She couldn't work, couldn't afford her apartment. Moved in with her sister 2 towns over. Hartford is small. Everyone knew someone who knew someone. The story spread. Paralegal and lawyer boyfriend conspire to steal dying woman's inheritance from her son. You couldn't buy worse publicity. Jennifer's friends stopped calling. Her book club dropped her. The gym she went to, someone left a printout of our divorce filing on her car. Anonymous, vicious, but true. Daniel said it wasn't right. That public shaming was cruel. I said it wasn't shame, it was consequences. December 18th arrived cold and clear. The courthouse was downtown Hartford, built in 1914, all marble and oak, and the weight of a century of justice. Judge Raymond Walsh presiding. 72 years old, reputation for no-nonsense rulings, and zero tolerance for fraud. Jennifer sat at the defendant's table with her new attorney, Marcus Reed. Young, ambitious, probably thought he could spin this. He couldn't. Sarah laid out our case methodically. Exhibit A, Mom's Journal. Entries dating back 11 years showing Jennifer's pattern of financial interest over emotional investment. Exhibit B, the prenup draft. Created 3 weeks before Mom's diagnosis, proving premeditation. Exhibit C, bank records, $8,400 in small withdrawals from Mom's accounts. Embezzlement disguised as elder care expenses. Exhibit D, text messages between Jennifer and Mitchell. 2 years of planning, explicit discussion of phases and optimal timing. Exhibit E, voice recording, mocking my mother's death, celebrating the windfall. Reed tried to object, tried to claim privacy violations, tried to argue that Mom's investigation was illegal surveillance. Judge Walsh shut him down every time. Counselor, your client engaged in a conspiracy to defraud. She doesn't get to hide behind privacy claims when she was actively plotting to steal marital assets. Sarah called me to testify. I'd prepared for this, rehearsed. But standing there, swearing to tell the truth, it all felt surreal. She asked about our marriage, about Mom's death, about discovering the affair, about finding the evidence. Mr. Anderson, when did you first realize your wife had been planning to leave you? When I found the prenup draft dated 3 weeks before my mother's diagnosis. What did that tell you? That she'd been waiting for my mother to die. That the inheritance was the trigger. That our entire marriage might have been leading to this moment. How did that make you feel? Replaceable. The word hung in the courtroom. Jennifer looked down, couldn't meet my eyes. Sarah entered Mom's final letter as Exhibit F, didn't read it aloud, too personal, but she summarized. Your Honor, the deceased, Margaret Anderson, spent her final months conducting an investigation. She hired a private investigator. She documented financial irregularities. She collected evidence of her daughter-in-law's affair and conspiracy with Mr. Mitchell. All of this was done while she was dying of stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She did it to protect her son, to ensure he wouldn't be victimized by someone he trusted. Judge Walsh read the letter. When he looked up, his expression had changed. This woman, he said, was protecting her child, even in death. Yes, Your Honor. He looked at Jennifer. Ms. Anderson, did you know your mother-in-law was documenting your behavior? No, Your Honor. Did you know she'd hired an investigator? No. Did you embezzle $8,400 from her accounts? Reed whispered something. Jennifer hesitated. Yes, but it was for her care. It was documented as personal expenses in your own bank records, Walsh said. I've reviewed them. Spa visits, dinners, clothing. Not 1 cent went to medical expenses. Jennifer went silent. Walsh reviewed the prenup draft. Read Section 7.3 aloud. In event of inheritance exceeding $500,000, division shall be calculated at 50% to petitioner. He looked at Jennifer. You wrote this before you knew there would be an inheritance. It was precautionary. It was fraud. You drafted a prenup designed to maximize your claim on an inheritance you knew was coming because you knew your mother-in-law was dying. He set the document down. This court finds clear evidence of fraud, conspiracy, and breach of fiduciary duty. The prenup is void. All claims to marital assets are denied. Reed stood. Your Honor, my client is entitled to... Your client is entitled to nothing. Fraud vitiates everything, Counselor. She came into this marriage with nothing. She conspired to take everything. She leaves with what she earned. 0. Walsh signed the decree. Dissolution granted. All assets to petitioner Thomas Anderson. Respondent Jennifer Anderson is ordered to pay petitioner's legal fees in the amount of, he checked the filing, $23,400. Court costs an additional $4,200. She has 90 days. He banged the gavel. 4 minutes, 12 years erased. Jennifer was crying. Reed was arguing. Sarah was packing her briefcase. I walked out of the courtroom and felt nothing. The consequences came fast after that. Mitchell's ex-wife, technically, they divorced in 2019, filed a civil suit, claimed he'd run the same scheme on her, demanded restitution. 3 other women joined the suit. Pattern of fraud spanning 8 years. Mitchell's assets were frozen. His house in West Hartford went into foreclosure. He moved to Massachusetts, tried to start over, but disbarred attorneys don't get second chances. Last I heard, he was selling insurance. Jennifer's paralegal license suspension became permanent revocation. Ethics board ruled she'd violated client confidentiality and conspired with an attorney to commit fraud. She'd never work in law again. She tried to get a job in real estate. 3 firms rejected her. Background checks flagged the divorce case. Public record, easy to find, easier to avoid. Her sister kicked her out after 6 months. Too much drama, too much baggage. Jennifer moved to New Haven, got a job as an administrative assistant, made $38,000 a year, paid her rent, paid her debts, disappeared from social media. I didn't follow her, didn't care. Justice doesn't require surveillance, it just requires consequences. The local newspaper ran a story in January. Attorney disbarred in inheritance fraud scheme. Front page. Mitchell's photo, Jennifer's name in the text. The whole ugly story laid out for everyone to see. Small towns have long memories and zero mercy. 6 months later, Daniel and I stood at Mom's grave. Spring in Connecticut, crocuses pushing through the last patches of snow. Her headstone was simple, granite, her name, her dates, and below, librarian, mother, guardian. Guardian, Daniel's idea. I'd agreed immediately. I still can't believe she did all that, Daniel said. Built an entire case while dying. She loved me enough to fight a battle she'd never see. She loved both of us. Look what she gave us back. He was right. The money, I'd used $50,000 to establish the Margaret Anderson Memorial Scholarship. Full ride to Yukon for Connecticut high school students pursuing library science or education. First recipient was a girl from New Britain, straight A's. Single mom. Worked 2 jobs to help with bills. Mom would have loved her. The rest of the money sat in investments. Boring, safe. Exactly what Mom would have wanted. But the real inheritance wasn't the money. It was Daniel, 5 years of stolen time returned. We had dinner every Sunday now. His daughter Emma, 8 years old, curious, brilliant, had started coming with him. She was holding Mom's journal today, the leather-bound one from the nightstand. We'd decided she'd get it when she turned 18. Legacy passing to the next generation. Uncle Tommy? Emma said, "Can I ask you something?" Always. Daddy says Grandma Margaret was really smart. Is that true? Daniel and I looked at each other, smiled. Smarter, we said together. Emma held the journal carefully, like it was made of glass. What did she write about? Everything, I said. She wrote about truth, about watching the people you love, about protecting them even when it's hard, about leaving evidence so they can protect themselves. That sounds like a superhero. It was. She just didn't wear a cape. Emma traced her finger over the embossed name on the cover. M. Harrison. Will I be smart like her? You already are, Daniel said. You've got her curiosity, her questions, her big heart. We stood there, 3 of us at Mom's grave, holding the things she'd left behind. Not just money, not just evidence, but connection, truth, the stubborn refusal to let cruelty win. I pulled out the newspaper clipping from my wallet, kept it folded, worn at the creases, the article about Mitchell's disbarment, about Jennifer's license revocation, about justice. Mom used to say, every scar is a story, and every story deserves to be heard. This was our story, mine and hers, Daniel's and Emma's. A history teacher and a dying librarian who built a case so thorough that 12 years of fraud couldn't survive it. I taught a new unit this semester, research methods, how to document, how to verify, how to build evidence. My students thought it was about historical analysis. It was really about survival. Emma asked another question. Did the bad people get punished? Yes, I said. Good. Grandma would be happy. She would. We laid flowers, crocuses, Mom's favorite, purple and white, the same colors as her high school, the same colors she'd worn to my graduation, the same colors she'd planted in her garden every spring. Daniel's phone buzzed. His wife, dinner at 6. Could we make it? Family dinner, he said. You coming? Always. Emma grabbed my hand. Can you tell me more about Grandma Margaret at dinner? I can tell you everything. We walked to the car, left the flowers on her grave, left the journal in Emma's backpack for safekeeping, left the newspaper clipping in my wallet, proof that consequences were real. In the car, Emma said, Uncle Tommy, what did your mean wife call you? Replaceable. What does that mean? It means she thought I was ordinary, that anyone could do what I do, that I didn't matter. But you're not replaceable. You're my uncle. Thank you, sweetheart. And Grandma Margaret didn't think you were replaceable either, right? No, she didn't. Then your mean wife was wrong, and now she knows it. Daniel caught my eye in the rearview mirror, smiled. Out of the mouths of babes, he said. At the scholarship fund office, they'd installed a plaque, bronze, simple. Mom's favorite quote engraved at the bottom, blood is thicker than greed, love is stronger than plans. I'd stood in front of it for 20 minutes the day they installed it, read it over and over, tried to hear it in her voice. She'd known that Jennifer would call me replaceable, known that I'd need to hear the opposite, known that her words would matter more than anyone else's. Even in death, she was still protecting me. My mother taught me that family isn't always blood, but loyalty always matters. If you've built your own family or found your way back to one, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. That's what she would have wanted. People connecting, people healing. That's the real inheritance. At dinner that night, Emma asked if she could see the journal again. Daniel nodded. She opened it carefully, found the entry from November 2014. This is when you got married, right? Right. And Grandma was worried? She was. But she didn't stop you? No. Why not? Because sometimes people need to make their own mistakes. And sometimes the people who love you just make sure you'll survive them. Emma thought about this, ran her finger over the words. She watches him like an accountant, not a wife. That's sad, Emma said. It is. But you're okay now? I am. Because Grandma helped you? Because Grandma loved me. Emma closed the journal, looked at me with those serious 8-year-old eyes. I'm glad the bad people lost. Me too. And I'm glad you and Daddy are friends again. Best thing that came from all of this, Daniel raised his glass, to Margaret, the smartest woman we ever knew. I raised mine. Smarter. Emma raised her juice box. To Grandma, the superhero without a cape. We clinked glasses, ate dinner, laughed at Daniel's terrible jokes, made plans for next Sunday. Emma showed me her book report. Daniel told stories about work, normal, family, real, not replaceable, never replaceable, just chosen over and over. The way Mom had chosen me, the way I'd choose them, always.